Hey, what's up everyone? Synthwave here, back with another video. Just thought I'd take a quick break from work because I was thinking a lot about the last video that I did with Mirage. It seemed very well received by a lot of people, so thank you for that, for the kind words and stuff. So I hope you got a lot of use out of the last video. But it got me thinking, what are some of the the other bots that I like to use that kind of tend to get overlooked by a lot of people, and this guy came to mind, Hot Rod. And it's easy to see why, kind of at first glance, why he gets overlooked. He's as a warrior, he's kind of just like the different kid, in high school that's just kind of a little shy, a little different than everyone else. He doesn't bleed the way other warriors will do. And so I think a lot of people just don't really know what to do with him. They're just kind of like, it's Hot Rod. He can kill evasion, and that's really about it. But he can actually do a lot of damage if you know what to do with him. So that's the purpose of this video today. Is I am just gonna real quickly go through his abilities and take a look at those, and then I went ahead and just got up to Sideswipe here right after Mixmaster in Rulers of Kaon, because I think he would be kind of the best example to kind of show off what Hot Rod can do. But let's take a quick look at Hot Rod right now. As you can see, he is max forged and fully ranked to rank 5. I'd love to get the 5-star version of him, but I just haven't been lucky at all to pull him yet. So, but yeah, synergy wise, he's very light on synergies. They don't give him a lot. He gets armor from Tactician Bumblebee. Barricade gives him an attack bonus, and then Mirage with the Racing Rivals synergy gives him 30% more crit damage, which that's the most important one. That's the biggest one. Strangely enough, I guess they don't list it because it's an outgoing or an incoming synergy. Prowl also gives him that code 12 reckless driving synergy, which heavy attacks stack up to 5 attack stacks. I think it's like 120% more attack damage with heavy attacks. So yeah, but that's really kind of the only other synergy that he gets. If we look at his signature ability, acceleration for special attacks, he overclocks his engines, increasing his power flow on attacks by 84% for 7 seconds. It's an okay signature. It's going to be one of those where you're really gonna, like most signatures, you're gonna notice it at higher levels. And I've just not been very fortunate enough to dupe him a lot of times the way I have Mirage. Mirage, I've pulled him tons of times, and Hot Rod I really haven't. So yeah, he's only 27 right now. But yeah, I think at higher levels you'll definitely notice it a lot more. His abilities are Deceleration, which prevents the opponent from evading attacks and reduces the opponent's power flow. And then his crit rate is crazy. Temporarily increases critical rate, hit rate when hitting opponents that are suffering the effects of a deceleration debuff. So those are the two things. They kind of go in tandem. You kind of need to have you need that deceleration to trigger before getting those crit rate buffs. For ranged attacks, he has a 60% chance to inflict deceleration for 3.2 seconds. I've always wanted, I've kind of posted this on the forum in the past. I've always thought that 60% should be more like 75, 80%. I just feel like it needs to be a little bit higher. Other than that, I think he's a pretty balanced bot. And then, of course, deceleration prevents the opponent from evading attacks and reduces opponent's power flow by 33.7% per stack. This really doesn't stack deceleration. It'll only stack after you launch a special attack. 2 stacks is the most you can get, so I don't know why they say that. Melee attacks, he has a 100% chance to gain a crit rate buff for 2.8 seconds when the opponent is under the effect of deceleration. And it increases the critical hit rate by 15%. So Imagine with Mirage, you've already got 30% more crit damage. And then if you throw in the right synergies, like for example, I've got a couple 5 stars that are giving him leadership bonuses for crit rate, so that will really help. Another kind of key component to Hot Rod is critical heavy attacks. He has a 40% chance to stun for critical heavy attacks, and that's important because that also works with deceleration as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Special attacks, that's strange. They don't list his first special attack there. Let's go down here. We'll see if we can get it. So his special one, Punishing Pirouette, a flurry of aerial kicks to knock down the opponent. So maybe that's why it doesn't really do anything. Time Tampering is his special 2. That acrobatic kick. So it's a powerful blast from his time bubble gun that inflicts deceleration for 9 seconds. So at first glance, these don't seem particularly special until you actually see them in action. And then his special 3, Hot Rod uses the most powerful setting on his time bubble gun, inflicting deceleration for 23 seconds. So yeah, there's nothing really to his specials, but what you're gonna find is his abilities are where he shines, and so we'll go ahead and take a quick look at that. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so here we go. I am gonna go ahead and try and talk during this fight. It's kind of hard because Sideswipe is one of those bots you really need to concentrate on, especially on this mod he's on. I didn't show you the mod, but if you've fought him, you already know what it is. He gains crazy amounts of power if he evades your attacks. When you see that green evade buff of his show up, you don't want that. You don't want him to evade, because yeah, so you can see how much power he gained. So that's what we're going to try to do with Hot Rod. We are going to try to keep that evade off of him, and to do that, we're going to establish a pattern here, and you can kind of see I'm trying to do that right now. The Hot Rod pattern is basically you kind of back up, give yourself some space, and just kind of keep hitting them with basic range shots until you get that Decelerate, and then either if they've got a special, try and bait that out of them, or try and move in for a combo. And what that combo is going to do if Decelerate is applied is it's going to cause that crit meter on your health bar to increase, and that's where all of Hot Rod's damage comes from. So that's the kind of the rhythm you want to get in right there, like what I just did, is back off, hit with ranged, move in for combos, and if they put up a block like that, if you don't get in time to get that combo off with that Decelerate applied, you just use a heavy, because he's got that 40% chance to stun on a heavy, especially with the Decelerate, because it has to be a critical heavy, and so that Decelerate is going to give you that crit rate. How did he block that? I don't know how the AI is so bogus sometimes. You can do everything right. Oops, there's a perfect example right there. His deceleration was not applied to Sideswipe there, and he evaded and he redlined quick. So that's one thing you want to avoid. But yeah, that again, what I'm talking about is this basic set of land Decelerate, move in for combos, get your crit rate high, and then trigger your specials. If you like, so here's a perfect example. I've got a special 3 ready to go. You don't really want to use his special 3, but if you do use it, it's not a bad thing. It gives you basically 24 seconds of Decelerate, so you don't have to worry about using those range shots. You can just kind of move in and try and land combos, and like I said, if they're holding their block down, then you can move in heavy And see, if you don't get the stun even, he does a pretty good amount of damage with that heavy. I mean, you'll see crit rates of around 4,000, 5,000 attack for those critical heavies. If you get the stun, great, that's good. That you'll see me repeatedly trying for it. If his block goes up, then that'll give you a chance to move in, and there you go. So see, gives you another chance to move in, get a combo. Oh, and his deceleration wore off again. This is why Sideswipe is such a pain. And another reason why you might want to consider using his special Hot Rod Special 3 a lot on Sideswipe. 24 seconds of deceleration is probably not a bad strategy to use against this bot, because that'll keep all those evades off of him, and it'll keep him from gaining that power. Part of the problem is I'm just a little chatterbox right now. I'm just talking too much, and I need to be concentrating on fighting. But I just find it, I don't know, I'm one of those guys that can't stand silence. If there's silence, I'm gonna try to fill the I always think it's awkward, and so I'm gonna try to fill the awkward space with me blabbering. So if I'm talking too much, I'm sorry, but I'm also trying to explain to you guys too why Hot Rod might be a guy you want to keep on your roster here. But unfortunately, it just means I'm not fighting that great. But I think I can finish this. I think I can do the job here. I was going to say something else about Hot Rod, and I don't remember what now. It'll come to me. Yeah, that's the other great thing about that. His Sideswipe's special 2 is awful. He gets those, it's like a really long, he's almost like the antithesis of Hot Rod. He gets a crazy long evasion buff whenever he uses that. So if you can have that deceleration applied or apply it afterwards, it's great, because then he can't use that to his advantage. It just makes the fight really long. But there's a good example. So you can see he's got good. He's the Crit-Meister. He doesn't have, he won't bleed or anything, but he deals out good crit damage. So I know what I was going to say about Hot Rod. The length of this fight brought that up. Hot Rod is not. Hot Rod is not a. He's not a great long distance fighter. Not like a 12-round fighter, the way like a Mirage or a Jazz or someone like that would be. He is very much a burst damage kind of fighter. Kind of like Ironhide, like with his obliteration signature that can be used once per fight. He will do great on shorter fights, and he will end those fights very quickly. But these, he's just, yeah. I don't know if it's just the boredom factor, because he's not, there's just not a lot to him, that's basically, that was 15,000 damage right there for his special 2. But there's just not a lot to him, and maybe that might be why a lot of people don't play him, is they just don't think he's that, he's not the most interesting bot. He's got some interesting mechanics. I like this mechanic, it's really interesting. But, doing a long 8 to 10 minute fight, or however long, this will last, it doesn't make for a very exciting, it's not the most exciting fight you're ever gonna do. But he's a great short time fighter. Short time? I don't know what the term is, but you know what I mean. Anyway, he's just about done. I think I can finish this. I have not been doing the best job because I've just running my mouth here. But you get the idea. I hope you get the idea about kind of what Hot Rod's potential is here. He's fun to use for short fights. So let's hurry up and finish this because I do need to get back to work. All right, there we go. So there you go. That's Hot Rod. How'd we do? Not that great. 73 hits. That's not my best effort, but it took 250 hits to kill Sideswipe, which is okay. So yeah, there you go. Hope that helped. Hope that'll at least convince you guys to, if you're thinking about forging him away, to maybe give him a second look, or if you get his 5-star, to maybe rank him up. So there you go, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.